All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about why you fail trading the ICT 2022 mentorship. Why do you lose money doing it, right? So what sparked me to make this video was I was scrolling Twitter the other day and I saw a post from an individual saying something along the lines of reason, whatever fucking number he said, that ICT number or ICT traders fail. Okay, and he was posting a chart of a 2022 mentorship setup that failed, and he's saying, I don't know everything about this individual, but from what I read on the tweet, he was implying that the model doesn't work. And here's the deal: the ICT 2022 mentorship model is more than just a crack of a short-term high and low and a fair value gap. Okay, and I made a post on Twitter the other day. And if you ain't following me on Twitter, I don't know what the fuck you is doing, right? You gotta be insane. You're not following me yet on Twitter, right? So what I said was, I made a post on Twitter the other day saying, or I was planning to, and I just want to see how many people would be interested in it, in making a series next year talking about the ICT 2022 mentorship and how I personally trade it, and given examples of the setup and play, etc. And then I had a couple comments of people saying, what's to say about it? It's just a crack of a short-term high and low and an imbalance. And it really, I can see why you say it doesn't work, right? And I really think a lot of you only watched the first couple of videos of that series or something like that. And I think you neglected everything else he said. Because just from what I see, I don't think you guys really studied that shit. I don't think you really studied that series at all. If that's what you take away from it, is that's all you got to do is look for a little imbalance and then just trade those imbalances, or trade every single little displacement that you see. You're going to get screwed. It's no surprise you can't make it work. There's other stuff that comes into play that's more important. Okay. And that mindset is why, the same mindset that I saw from that individual who, posted that tweet. That's why a lot of you guys fail. That's why you fail. It's because you don't have, whenever it comes to the 2022 mentorship, there's a few things you got to be aware of. You need to be aware of the trend. You need to be aware of the draw on liquidity, very important. And you need to know what cycle you're in, all right? What cycle that you currently are working within. So pivot back over to the charts, and I'm going to use a few examples from the day that I, no hindsight, plugged in my free Discord chat. As I do every single morning, I plug a free watch list every single morning that the market is open in my free Discord chat. Okay, I post my charts, I post my analysis. You can ask me questions in there. I got a #1 Discord chat in the world, no competition, right? And if you want to join that chat, there's going to be a link in the video description that you can join it. It's just an amazing chat. I'm not going to get too off. I know I'm not going to get off too track with the topic, but make sure you join that, right? Because I post all kinds of charts in here, all kinds of setups in here, educational material in here. Ask me questions. Best chat out there, hands down. Nobody does like this chat, right? And it doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't cost you a dime to join this chat, guys. It's 100% free. And so, yeah. But back to what I was saying. It's more than just a displacement. It's more than just that fair value gap. You got to understand. You got to have a full picture. You got to have a full understanding. Okay. I think the best way that I can explain this in the simplest manner as possible is to just kind of treat this like a trade review and go about it like that. Like what I saw on NZDUSD today. And also we had a setup on GBPUSD as well. And I'm going to go over both of these pairs, and we're going to talk about how I approached this morning. Like, what was I looking for? What was the very first thing that I was looking for this morning that made me come to the conclusion that this is a valid setup for the ICT 2022 mentorship model? What was my entire thought process? You need to do top-down analysis. Here's the deal. You need to do top-down analysis, and you need to get that higher time frame picture. So what I did first things first on NZDUSD this morning was I went to the 4-hour chart. Or actually, I went to the daily chart as well. I went to a few different time frames here. Daily chart, what do we got here? Well, it's very bullish. It's in a very strong uptrend at the moment. So right away, we can establish that the daily market structure is indeed bullish. Okay, the 4-hour chart, what's the deal here? So you can see on the 4-hour chart, we got this big displacement the other day right here. See this? See how NZDUSD had this big, strong flush lower right here. Created a big 4-hour imbalance right here. Okay? It created this going into Asian session. Okay? All this is important information. What did it create? It created an imbalance, aka a draw on liquidity. And let me make that purple as well. I just like having it purple. It's just what I'm used to, right? All right, so we had this big flush that created this imbalance right here. And that was during New York yesterday that it did this. It had this big flush. And this is important because we have this storyline to go off of. This is a higher time frame point of interest. This is a higher time frame draw on liquidity. Okay, and this was formed the other day. And this flush, it took out this higher time frame sell side right here. It had a strong close. What happened as soon as we had that big flush right here, guys? What happened as soon as we had this big, strong flush to the downside that created this imbalance? Well, it went into a consolidation into Asian session. Okay, and this is where it comes into play, because if you recall what I just said a moment ago, it's very important that you understand market cycles. Okay, think power of 3. Okay, think IPTA. Okay, it's very important because all of this connects. It all connects and it makes one beautiful picture. And you need that full understanding to really trade the ICT 2022 mentorship effectively, in my opinion. Okay, because this is what I look at and it cleans it up so much, right? So we get that flush, it creates this imbalance, aka it creates a draw on liquidity. I was fully aware of that. Coming to this morning, I sat down at my charts London session, and right away, I identified that we had a draw on liquidity up above. I knew right away, likely, it was going to want to come up and draw up into that imbalance today. I understood that because that's a draw. That's an area that was not efficiently delivered. Therefore, it's a draw. And after we had that flush, we come into Asian session and we enter a consolidation. Okay. Again, it goes back to understanding market cycles. And I want you to understand, like, look at what was created right here when we were coming into a brand new day. When we come into, we're about to come into a London session at this point where my cursor is moving. What was created right here? What was created right there? A swing low was created. Okay. And I know some of you, the impatient ones, right, are already thinking, oh, how does this connect to 2022? Get to the point, Mike. All right, you can just leave the video because you got no chance of succeeding. Because I know there's some of those individuals on here. It all connects. It's like some people, they want me to, not to go off on a tangent, right? But some people, they think it's just such a, a very quick, easy, do this one little thing. It's very simple stuff what I'm explaining here, but the key thing here is you got to understand the full picture. Okay. And that's what I'm outlining to you right here. This is how I approach the markets every single day. And this is how I clean the fuck up maybe not every single day, but on a consistent basis. Right. And it's because I have that outlook on the higher time frame. I have that storyline to go off of. I understand where my draw is. I understand what the market structure is. Okay. And I understand what market cycle we are currently operating within. All of this, which ICT teaches on his channel. Okay, if you really study his content, all this you're already privy of. Okay, he's covered it in depth. And then it connects and it helps you trade the 2022 mentorship effectively. Okay, because it's not just like, oh, little displacement here, imbalance, boom, hit every single one of them that I see and I'm going to be rich, right? Nope, you got to have a full understanding. So, not to go off too far, what I was saying was we got the imbalance created. We've already established that. We go into a consolidation after we take these lows. We take out whenever you have a big, strong move lower like this, what typically happens after you have a big expansion like that, you go into a consolidation. And we go into that consolidation into Asian session. And what ends up happening here is we create a swing low right here. What does it do when it does this? That's intentional because it creates liquidity. It has this move lower. It creates a swing low. This creates liquidity. That's intentional. And remember, it created this swing low while having this imbalance up above. I noticed all of this in London session. I had that storyline to go off of. I didn't just go to the fucking lower time frame chart and look for a 1 minute displacement and try to trade every single 1 minute displacement that I see. I have a higher time frame perspective. I know what's happening here. I know where the draw is. And I understand we're about to come into London session, which is prime time for what? It's prime time for manipulation. It's prime time for your turtle soups. That's where you look for turtle soups, aka fake runs. And guess what? I've already done a lot of heavy lifting, guys. I looked at this higher time frame. This is where the majority of your analysis needs to be. It's on this higher time frame chart. That's where the majority of your analysis needs to be. That does the heavy lifting because it tells you the direction. It tells you where your draw is going to be here. The lower time frame is mainly just for the entries and looking for the executions, the confirmation signals. This is where the heavy lifting is done. So I understand. Now we got this swing low created, which is going to entice what? Sell stops to be placed beneath this level right here. Swing low, because in simplest terms, what a swing low means is it is starting to find its bottom and it's ready to move up higher. Okay. And like this shit is chess. You got to think. Whenever that happens, where are traders going to keep their stops? Because this entices traders to get in because it's starting to curl up higher. It puts in a swing low. It's starting to push up. Where are they going to keep their stops at, guys? Where are traders going to keep their stops at? They're going to keep their stops underneath of support. Where is support? It's beneath this level right here. That swing low that was created. That was the intention. And I want you to notice all this, where all this has happened, what cycle it's happening in. We had that displacement, we cracked the lows, and we went to consolidation in Asian session. And this move lower right here that you see right here, it was about to come into London session, which is prime time for manipulation, for that turtle soup. See how it connects? You have this liquidity created. So right away, I already know I want to target that level. You already know what you want to target. It goes back to, probably my most popular saying, wait for liquidity or you'll be the liquidity. I've already targeted the liquidity. I already know where they are. They're a sitting duck right there. I've already targeted them. I know they're right here. I know where their stops are at. I know we're entering London session. I know we're leaving the accumulation period and we're entering that turtle soup. We're entering that next cycle, which was where we're going to see that turtle soup engineered to take out this liquidity down below. See how you got to kind of have a full picture. And guess what? This imbalance didn't go nowhere. We still got this draw liquidity up above. We still have that fair value gap draw right there. That did not go anywhere. It's still there, serving as a draw. And now we're into London and we're looking for that turtle soup. And guess what? That turtle soup, that's that manipulation run that ICT teaches you in the 2022 mentorship. Yes, I'm using a higher time frame level here, but it's the same exact process, okay? It's liquidity. That's what you look for. That's the liquidity run you look for. After it takes that level, what do you think you're going to be looking for next? Then you're looking for the confirmation signal. Then you're looking for that little pattern that everybody likes to skip to and forget all the higher time frame work. That's what they want to skip to. But you got to do all this work first. And that's what nobody wants to do. Okay? Because, most people are lazy. They just want to skip to, the little quick little pattern, right? And it's not that easy. It's very simple. Everything that I explain here is very simple stuff. Okay. But most people neglect it. And then they wonder why, because I see it all the time. People saying ICT 2022 mentorship doesn't work, or they're getting tagged out over and over again. It's because you don't do the work on the higher time frame chart. You don't have that storyline. If you knew where the draw is, if you understand how these market cycles operate, if you understand where the manipulation, the accumulation, all that shit is going to occur, guys, it makes it much cleaner. It cleans it up so much for you. That's the importance of having a full understanding. Okay. So we've already confirmed that. Let's go to the 15-minute now, just to kind of show you here. You can see right here, we had this was the move lower where we took out that, we had that big flush that took out higher time frame sell side. And then we get a retracement. We come into Asian session. You can see right here, we come to Asian session. What's this? This is a consolidation. Okay. Accumulation. And then you can see right here, we come into a brand new day, which is where we anticipate what? We come into a brand new day right after midnight is where you want to see that fake run. Okay. Which ICT, he teaches right after midnight. That's where you hunt for that fake run. And I've already identified we got the higher time frame draw. I identified we got a higher time frame liquidity right here that was created recently. Remember what we were just saying a moment ago? It created that liquidity. It enticed buyers to put their stops right there whenever it had that swing low created. And then you can see right here, right after midnight, we get that fake run, which is where you can anticipate that to occur. Again, as ICT teaches, you anticipate that fake run to occur right after midnight. Okay? And now some of you are already jumping like, okay, you're talking about midnight, Mike, but I'm focused on New York session. So how is this helpful? It's all helpful because it all connects. Okay, we're going to go into a little bit deeper here and a little bit later, but it's the same process. So, but I'm kind of telling you how I approach it, right? So we get this move lower right after midnight, and it takes that liquidity. This is that ICT 2000. Now you're on a 15-minute chart, which is where you look, you got your swing low right there in the 15-minute, swing low right here in the 15-minute. It's sweeping that low right there. What do you look for next? What's next for the ICT 2022 mentorship? After you have the liquidity sweep, well, now we cooking. Now we go down to the lower time frame. This is where we get to the entry pattern. But see all that work that we did beforehand to come to that conclusion, to understand that we are trading with that we're aligned with the market cycle, that we know where the draw on liquidity is, that we understand that, like, we understand where we are in the grand scheme of things, essentially. We're not just trading random fucking displacements. If you do that, well, then yeah, you are the liquidity, right? You're just asking to get taken. You gotta know where you are in these market cycles. You gotta understand where you are. You gotta understand where other market participants are at. You gotta think ahead, because most people, they don't think ahead. Okay. Most people, the 90%ers, they think it's just, a little simple pattern, and it's just not. You got to have a full outlook. So this was the liquidity run, and then it has the push up right here. Okay, we get our strong, right there's actually a short-term high. We get a strong close above that level. We get our fair value gap confirmation right here. Price then pulls back into a discount. Okay. Nope. Let me adjust that right there. Discount marketplace below 50% equilibrium. And then guess what? It ramps up. And then what do you target? You target the buy stop. You target these buys. This is what I was targeting this morning. Again, I posted all this in my free Discord chat beforehand. No hindsight. What did I tell everybody? I'm targeting this high right here. That's what I'm targeting, is right there. And we came up and we targeted it with ease. And then eventually it came up, because that was like the low hanging objective. It eventually came up though, and it targeted this imbalance up above, which was our draw that we identified beforehand. We understood it's probably going to want to draw into that level here soon, because that's the higher time frame draw. And because we already took out higher time frame sell stops right here, we understand where we are in this market cycle. We understand probably it's going to, into New York, it's going to come up and rebalance its price action, because it already took out liquidity. So why it doesn't need to move lower now? It already took out the higher time frame liquidity. It doesn't need to move lower. Price is going to move the direction of least resistance. It's going to look for that next draw on liquidity, which is this inefficiency up here. That's where it draws into. And that's how you milk it off. That's how you got to look at the marketplace. It's not just, oh, there's a little pattern right there, let me trade that pattern. And it's not that. There's more to it than that. You got to have the higher time frame outlook. Now we're going to go to GBPUSD next. Again, I know some people just expected this video to be like, some little quick fix. You gotta understand the higher time frame. You gotta understand what your higher time frame draw is. You gotta understand the cycle that you're operating within. All that is very important. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to learn that. It's very simple stuff. You just gotta put a little elbow grease into it and study these charts. Now we're gonna talk about GBPUSD, because this was another ICT 2022 mentorship play this morning that we saw, that we were talking about in the free Discord chat. And so right away, we're looking at this higher time frame chart on GBPUSD. Okay, I'm getting this higher time frame outlook. Okay, because I need to understand where my draw is going to be. I need to understand the market structure, all this stuff, right? So right here, the very first thing that we saw in GBPUSD. So let's take our focus to what happened yesterday first. Let's study this past price action. GBPUSD. We had this big flush right here. I want you to take your focus right here. See how GBPUSD, see how it flushed right here? And what did it take out? It took out higher time frame sell side liquidity right here. See how it did that? And it did this when? In New York. So this is this expansion into New York to target this liquidity right here, because that was the draw beforehand. It was drawn to these lows and it took out that low. After it takes out liquidity like that and it has a big expansion like that, what's a common signature that you'll see? Price goes into consolidation. That's what you see right here. It goes into a consolidation right here into when? Asian session, which is when you can anticipate that. Okay, Asian session is where you look for that consolidation. That's the most popular time to occur. Think power of 3. Okay, we get that accumulation right here, right? So then you can see we ended up getting that consolidation into Asian session, and then we enter New York session. We're coming to New York session. This is when I sit down at my PC this morning, and I've already identified this right away. I already understood that we took out higher time frame sell stops right here, and then we're seeing this light retracement, which is our consolidation, and we're coming to New York session, or London session, which is prime time for what? Manipulation. Right after midnight, you look for that manipulation. Okay, and that's what I'm anticipating. I've already coming into the market with that outlook. Okay, I've already identified where the liquidity is. Remember, after we took out these lows right here, we came down and we swept these lows right here. We created this swing low and it started to push up right here. See how it started to push up after taking out this liquidity? What is it? That's intentional. That right there is intentional because it creates liquidity beneath these lows right here. And look right there. There's your liquidity. That's sit and duck. It takes the lows. This is into later in New York, and then we create this little upswing. It looks like price is going to head up higher, right? Because you're looking at this and it's testing this support. It took out the support. You think it's going to ramp up, and this is intentional because it creates liquidity coming into London session, which is where that manipulation is going to occur. It's all connected. It creates liquidity. We go into consolidation, and then we see our manipulation. Okay. And that is where you target. That's where your opportunity is. I've already identified the liquidity coming into the day because I did that. I look at this higher time frame chart, and right away I can identify where that liquidity is going to be. Okay. I know where market participants, where their stops are going to be right off the bat. Okay. And I understand because ICT has taught it that London session, or like right after midnight, we're going to see it come down and have that manipulation move right here. And then I've already identified the stops. And then after we get the manipulation move, which is what he teaches in the ICT 2022, that stop run he's talking about, it's the same thing right here, guys. Don't get lost just because I'm using a 4-hour chart. It's the same exact deal. It's the same exact type of deal. Okay? Because, I mean, guess what? We go to a 15-minute chart. Well, guess what? You got 15-minute swing lows in here that is taken out. That's what happened. We got to move lower. We entered that consolidation to Asian session, and price moves lower. We come into London session, it's moving lower. This is manipulation. Now we're on a 15-minute chart, but this is that move lower. It's taking out higher time frame sell stops right here. Okay. And you can see 15-minute sell stops as well. And this is that manipulation move. I've already identified that beforehand because I did the work on the higher time frame chart. I've identified that, and I understand what part of the market cycle that we're operating within. I understand that we just left Asian session. We got the consolidation there. I understand that we got higher time frame sell stops right here. We created that liquidity on that little push up right here. So now there's a big bucket of stops right there. I understand that we're coming to London session, which is prime time for that turtle soup to occur, fake run lower to take this liquidity. That's the stop run. And now I'm looking for what now, guys? As soon as we take out this low right here, what are we looking for next? Well, now we're looking for the pattern. That's where it comes into play. But you can see how the pattern is a small part of it. It's just for the execution. It's just for the trigger. But you need to be aware of all this other stuff. You need to know where the draw is. You need to know what your market cycle that you're in. You need to understand, what market profile you're in. See how it was moving lower, moving lower, moving lower, moving lower, moving lower. It's consistently trending lower, and then we get our move up as a result. Fair value gap confirmation. This was off of that higher time frame point of interest. See how it dipped its toe into that liquidity in London session, and then it gives a push up right here, and then it gives a pullback right here. Did that give a discount marketplace? It absolutely did. It pulled back below 50% equilibrium. There you go. And it rips up, and it seeks to buy stops up above. See how it all connects, guys? It's not just going in and saying, oh, look, there's a fair value gap. Let me trade that. Oh, there's a fair value gap right there. Let me trade that. Let's see if this one works out. You got to have the full picture. Like, there's no, special magic little fix. Like, I'm going to say this one little thing and it fix all winners from now on. Nope. You got to do the work of understanding where your draw is, which I just demonstrated in this video. You got to do the work of understanding what market profile you're in, understand power of three, IPTA. You have to have a full understanding of market structure. You got to have a full understanding liquidity. You got to have that full education, okay? Which he demonstrates in that series. You just got to pay attention, right? Again, most people, I think they just kind of watched the first few videos of that series and they gave up. They watched first few videos and they went into the charts and tried to trade it, and then they failed, and then they say, "Oh, it doesn't work because you're lazy and you didn't do any work." That's what happened. Okay. Now, another kind of key tip. This is just from my own personal discoveries. What works for me. ICT teaches, move down to a discount on the entry. That's fine. But a lot of times what I'll do with the IC2, it's more of a personal thing for me. A lot of times I'll just go off the candle close as well. Like, a lot of times if I'm executing on like the 5-minute chart, for example, a lot of the times I'll just go off the candle close personally. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying that's just something that I personally do, and you can test it. You could test it out for yourself, and make the decision for yourself. But a lot of times what I'll do is I find ample is if I get the 5-minute shift, like I get the candle close and then I get the fair value gap, like that's usually ample. Because a lot of times, I do see price take off without giving that pullback in a lot of scenarios, and the candle close is ample. And that's just kind of a personal thing for me that I do. But in these examples that I just demonstrated, they gave you a discount, but I'm just kind of showing you another way that I go about doing it. And that's what you got to look out for, guys. Okay. But the reason you fail, to kind of final this off here, guys, the reason that you fail the ICT 2022 mentorship is because you're not considering what I mentioned in this video. You don't understand. You're not doing the work. You're not getting the higher time frame outlook. You don't know what the drawn liquidity is. You don't know what market cycle you're operating in. You're just trading blindly, and you're just trying to focus. You're focusing solely on that one little pattern that he teaches, which is the displacement and the fair value gap. But you don't have the full picture. You don't know what market profile that you're in. You don't know none of that. And that's why you fail. Okay? That execution on that lower time frame, it's just that. It's just for that. It's the execution, and it's nothing more. But you got to do the work on these higher time frame charts to clean it up, to give you that storyline. It's not difficult. It's very simple stuff, but it's necessary. Okay. And even though I use forex in this video because that's what I mainly focus on, I look at futures for the people in my chat as well, but I focus on forex mainly. But it's the same exact deal across the board. Like, whether you trade futures and you're focused on New York session, it's the same exact, like what I took here is just applied to that. Okay. The open and equity bell at 9:30 is a prime time for turtle soups, as you probably understand, or as a lot of you understand. Okay. If you're privy with ICT's work, you understand that equity bell is prime time for fake runs. Okay. And another prime time to look out for that ICT 2022 signature is after news, of course, after high impact news is done with, because that's a prime time for turtle soups to occur, for stop runs to occur, is after news. Okay. And then it's the same exact thought process that I went through with you in this video. Understand where the draw is, do the work, understand the higher time frame outlook, understand what market cycle you're operating within, and then you can pick it apart. It's much simpler at that point to pick it apart. But that's why you fail, is because you don't got that full understanding, that full education. Watch that 2022 series multiple times. Really take notes. Okay. Really go into your charts and study it. Don't half-ass it. If you half-ass it, you're not going to get the results you're not going to get the results you want. You got to really put in that elbow grease to studying that. Okay. Because I promise you guys, the 2022 mentorship is golden, and it's my favorite work from his. It's my favorite work from his because it's the simplest. It's super simple, stupidly simple. Anybody can do it if they just put in a little bit of effort. It takes effort, and that's where people, they lose it, because they think it doesn't. Like, they think it's just like that little simple pattern, and that's all there is to it, and it's not. It still takes effort, but it's the simplest work, and it's very, very effective. Okay. because I do this shit every single day, as I posted my free Discord chat every single day, you know, showing countless examples of, you know, bangers after bangers after bangers in there. Of course, you know, I'm not right all the time. Nobody is, but you know, results speak for themselves. Okay, the model works. It's you that's not working if you're not seeing results. It's you doing something that's wrong. And for a lot of you, this is that thing that you're doing wrong. There's more pieces to it than just a simple pattern. Okay. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you later.